Hello. Walter Rauschenbusch, 176 of Christianity and the Social Crisis. He's dealt with monasticism, now he deals with sacramentalism and its effects. It was one of the fundamental characteristics of prophetic religion in Israel that the service of God was sought in ethical conduct and not in ceremonial performances. Christianity, in its original purity, was even more a religion of absolute spirituality, almost wholly emancipated from ceremonial elements, insisting simply on right relations to men as the true expression of religion. If this attitude had been maintained, it would have turned the force of the religious impulse towards social righteousness, and would inevitably have resulted in a progressive insight into moral wrong, and a progressive reconstruction of social relations in conformity with Christian ideas. But even in the first generation, few were able to rise to the spirituality of Jesus and Paul. The Jewish Christians clung to their inherited ceremonial and tried to bind Christianity down to it. Christians who had come out of paganism were imbued with the customs, the instincts, the points of view created by the entire religious past of the race. It would have been an almost inconceivable leap forward in social and religious evolution if Christianity, for the mass of men, had remained purely ethical and spiritual. As a matter of fact, Christianity did not displace paganism, but penetrated its bulk with a kind of chemical force which was destined, in the slow processes of human history, ultimately to disintegrate and eliminate paganism from human thought and conduct. In a large sense, the entire history of Christianity to our day may be understood as an effort of the spirit of Christianity to overcome the inheritance of ethnic ideas and superstitions. The Reformation was an important epoch in that process, but it was not yet completed, or rather it is not yet completed. Christianity in the heathen world rapidly relapsed toward the pre-prophetic state or stage of religion. The material furnished by Christianity was worked over into a new ceremonialism, essentially like the magic ritual of the Greek mysteries and Oriental cults, only more wonderful and efficacious. Baptism was a bath of regeneration, cleansing the guilt of all pre-baptismal sins and making the soul like that of a newborn child. In the sacrament of the Eucharist, in some mysterious way, the very body and blood of the Lord were present, and the divine could be physically eaten and its powers received to transform the material into the spiritual and immortal. The formulas of baptism and the Lord's Supper were fraught with magic powers. Worship became a process of mystagogic initiation into the divine mysteries. All the old essentials of pagan religion were reproduced in Christian form, but with scarcely a break in their essence. The effort to placate God by sacrifice, the amulets, vows, oracles, festivals, incense, candles, pictures, and statues. It was like a tropical jungle sprouting again after it is cut down. In Neoplatonism, the highest and most refined product of the old pagan religion, we observe precisely the same process. The whole system of popular superstition was adapted in that too. In religion, the superstitions and feelings of the lower strata usually soak upward and saturate the higher. The leaders of religious thought will hallow by theological thought and ecclesiastical institutions the coarse and superstitious desires appealing to them from the lower masses. But when Christianity turned its deepest interest from ethical conduct to sacramental ritual, it thereby paralyzed its power of moral transformation. Ritualism numbed the ethical passion of primitive Christianity. There was a vast loss of force even in the effects exerted in private morality. Of course, the loss was still greater in the less intimate and pressing duties of the wider social life. The parasitic growth of ritualism and sacramentalism on the body of Christianity is one great historical cause why Christianity has never addressed itself to the task of social reconstruction. Put a link into an earlier portion of the book. Right at the beginning of this book, Rauschenbusch took up the contrast between the ritual of pagan religion and the ethical faith of Jehovah in the Old Testament. Next time, the dogmatic interest.